in the books, and it's into the middle of the fantasy season. My name is Fitzy. I'm not doing so well, but we're going to have somebody on the podcast today who can lighten the mood a little bit. That's right, it's the new co-host, Colin. Colin, welcome on.
Fitzy, I can't relate to you not doing well. I'm doing great. I don't know what it is. It's something in the air. Maybe it's all the footballs flying through the air, scoring touchdowns, but I'm feeling great.
That's right, because on the line today, Colin, number 1 in the Why Do Boys Play Games Fantasy League. Very happy for you. We're going to be recapping last week and talking about how you got there, but first, we're going to take an early dip into the mailbag. And first up, Mike Bekonowitz asks, who will be the highest bidder in the waivers, and for what player? Well, Mike, I'm sorry to say, we're recording this on Wednesday, so we know that the answer will be revealed later. Because I didn't write it down, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Mike. This is a bit of a later episode, so we dropped the ball there. But that's okay, because Mike also had a different question. And he wants to know, what is your favorite football movie? Fitzy, do you have any, are you a big football movie guy?
Oh man, there are so many good football movies. I mean, the easy one that comes to mind is Draft Day, and I think that's probably my actual answer at this point. After seeing it now back-to-back draft days in this league, we actually watched it at Corby's house. I don't believe there's one better, but some honorable mentions, of course. Air Bud, Golden Receiver, has to make the list. It's an absolute classic. I googled football movies. There's also one called Funny Monkey from 2004. That's nice. And then the close one too, Rudy. What a classic. A Draft Day. Colin?
Yeah, I'm a big Sean Astin fan. What has he been in that's bad? You know, he's a great actor. He seems like an amazing guy. But I forgot about Draft Day somehow when I was thinking. I was like, what are good football movies? Do you remember On Demand on Comcast? Do you remember that was a thing?
Of course.
It was like Netflix almost before Netflix. They had Brian's Song for a long time. You ever seen Brian's Song?
I've not seen Brian's Song. I've heard good things.
All right. Well, it was a made-for-TV movie from like the 70s, you know, about Gale Sayers and whatever, his fullback named Brian. I don't know his name. So a little more of a sincere answer, but it was a good movie.
You want a sincere answer.
And I'm a sucker for drama, so I'm a big fan of Brian's Song.
If that's the case, I'm really surprised neither of us picked Radio. I mean, Radio. Come on. Cuba Gooding Jr.? No? Not for you? All right, fine. And Corby asks, because he just has to get on the pod, what is the weirdest food combo you enjoy? And this is one that I brought up last year because we talked about our food crimes against humanity on one of the podcasts. There are a few. For one, I don't think this is a crime, but jalapeno pineapple pizza is the best, and I will stand by that forever. I don't think that that's even weird, though. Colin's making a face like it is here, but I quite enjoy it. I think the weirdest food combination that I truly enjoy is just chili and breakfast. I think it's a fantastic breakfast food, and people should be waking up to that reality.
You know, as someone who worked at a pizzeria, if you want to call Little Caesars a pizzeria, I learned to accept pretty much anything that someone ordered. But if someone walked in and ordered, we had jalapenos. If someone walked in and ordered jalapenos and pineapple, I would say, "Are you sure?" I'd be like that waitress from Buffalo Wild Wings. But I think I'm pretty boring when it comes to food. I'm not like a foodie. I don't eat a lot of different things. I'm sure there's something if I dug deep enough. But you know, I guess the infamous one is bread, cheese, and bread. But I don't think that's. I don't even really do that anymore. We give it to my daughter sometimes. She's into it. But I guess I'm passing on my weird food thing to her. But I don't think I have anything. I'm sorry, Corby. Maybe you can have a better answer when you come back. And wrapping up the comments is Adam. Adam, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I'll just summarize it real quick by saying that Adam needs help, everyone. Send help. He needs help. I'm not sure what. I don't know if he fell down a well. I don't know what kind of help he needs, but Adam, we're looking out for you, okay? Send help to Adam, please.
Just like the team name, help times help raised to the help multiplied by help. So, happy for Adam. Let's move on and see if we can figure out why Adam needs some help but I don't know if previous week's matchups are going to shed much light on it as we get into this. Adam is the third one we're going to be talking about. We're going to start off with Tyler versus Taylor. And Colin, I want to read you a couple of stats in the Tyler v. Taylor matchup. One team had 2 goose eggs. One team had 2 players leave early with injuries, combining for 8 points. And one team had all 3 of the top 3 non-quarterback fantasy point scorers on the week. All 3 of those stats are about Tyler, which is so utterly confusing.
Yeah, in a league where we start 12, 3 of Tyler's players scored like 70% of his points. So there's studs and duds, and then there's this. This is the most extreme it gets. Because that's what happened to Tyler. He still manages 148, which is a mediocre week. And Taylor just fell short in every way. I think on his team there's maybe 2 touchdowns total. It was just a tough week for Taylor. An unceremonious beginning to what I was hoping would be a revenge season for the H's.
Yeah, I mean, I do think, Taylor, things will get better. You had a 66-point bench, including Julio and Jarvis Landry. Not to mention the guy who you absolutely should have started, Flex Burkhead. But going back to Tyler for a second, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, and Saquon combined for over 70% of Tyler's points. His quarterbacks did nothing. I mean, the fact that Geno Smith outscored Tom Brady and Dak Prescott combined is a pretty intense stat for Tyler on week 1.
Yeah, I had him ranked number 1 on the power rankings. But with the injuries to Dak, Cam Akers being a potato, and also Eli Mitchell, I think he's going to have to be moving down a lot of spots. That's what happens when you have a top-heavy team, is that all it takes is taking a few Jenga blocks down at the bottom, and it collapses. So looking up the next matchup, we have Chris Colby versus Chris Patino in the inaugural Chris Bowl. Chris Colby takes it semi-handily, about a 25-point victory. Devontae Adams was one of the many top-notch receivers this year that just proved he was worth it. Chris Patino didn't necessarily have a bad week. He had another mediocre week. Allen Robinson, big issue. But even if he didn't do the Cooper Kupp trade, he still would have lost. So that was a bad trade, but A.J. Brown looks pretty good. Chris Patino doesn't have the worst team. One other thing I want to say. Shout out to Chris Colby for starting Devin Duvernay, Yahoo projection darling, who just showed he's worth it and more.
Well, Ian, it's funny you say that because, Colin, Devin Duvernay outscored his projection, just as we all expected. It's a solid week. Chris Colby overcomes the early Stafford worse than Buffalo defense stat in style. It was a great Chris Bowl to start the year. But for Chris Patino, you've got a team with a bunch of players I like, including, like you said, Colin, maybe the most fun player I've ever owned in A.J. Brown. Nobody makes numbers go up in a more exciting way than that guy. So, Chris, you're going to bounce back quickly here.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the guys who make the numbers go up exciting. I like though 1 or 2 points at a time. The Hunter Renfrows. So A.J. Brown's cool. I don't think he's that kind of guy.
Yeah. I should mention that, Colin, you were the only one that was on Chris Colby's side last week. And in the first matchup, we both had Tyler, and he got it done for us. In the next matchup here, it's Adam versus Mike. Adam gets the dub, and I was the only one on Adam's side. Colin and the coin both had Mike. So, I look at some of the guys on Mike's team, and I seriously don't know how he only put up 137 points. I feel like all these guys were showing up on red zone between the 2 tutty receivers in Dotson and Michael Thomas. You had McCaffrey running around all day. I mean, obviously you had Stephon Diggs too, but Devonta Smith might be Devonta Stink. I mean, he's no good, and Austin Hooper, he definitely does stink. Adam's side just put up too much of a fight with his quarterbacks.
Mike already dropped Austin Hooper, so everyone can breathe a collective sigh of relief. As he was cursed last year, he's cursed this year. Devontae Smith was a guy who, I would never draft. Well, I kind of talked about it in the other podcast, but the Eagles are a run-first team. They ran for over 200 yards this last game. Although Jalen Hurts was slinging it, but it was all A.J. Brown and Dallas was out there. But it's tough for Mike, but it's week 1. I think his team is fine. Don't overreact. Just chill. Slot someone else in. Who do you got on your bench here? James Robinson. There you go. And Conklin as a tight end. I love it. This is a great team. Keep your head up, Mike.
And in our next matchup, Eric versus Colin, the proverbial Larry Bird and Magic Johnson of the league. This was somehow not our most lopsided victory in league history. It wasn't even top 5. This 108-point victory ranks 6th all-time, and I'd bet we just saw our biggest beatdown of the year. Colin, please take it away.
You know what feels great is I went all of last year without getting a single 200-burger on what I think was a vastly superior team. I went into this draft, like I was saying, basically 0 running back, 0 quarterback, and just focus on receivers to flex out. And that's what happened. They blew up. But what pushed me over the top was Cordell Patterson, Miles Sanders deciding to also blow up. Carson Wentz did great. I'm not having any disillusions about my team. I don't think it's one of the best teams. I think they all happen to correlate, blowing up together. I still think it's a good team. I think the draft day projections of me going 1-13 was a total farce, and I'm going to prove it wrong. It's already gone up to 8-6 on the year, so it's only going to go up from there. Eric, he had a slow start last year. I don't care how he does at the beginning of this year. He had a slow start last year, and he turned on the Jets. It was a tough week for him. Najee going down, T. Higgins, Aaron Rodgers, his week 1, same as last year. He had a terrible week 1. I think he can pick it up. Again, it's too hard to judge right now. I don't have anything bad to say about his team.
Yeah, Colin, in terms of your projections, your 0 QB strategy turned upside down pretty quick, huh? Carson Wentz, 3rd best QB in the league right now. Eric, on your side, you had all the busts that I wanted to draft but didn't. So Najee and T. Higgins leaving the game hurt. CeeDee Lamb losing Dak really hurts. And, Aaron Rodgers scored less than anyone on your team of duds not named Dawson Knox. Just not a fun week, but yeah, I agree. You're going to be bouncing back. I'm not worried. I want to circle back to top victories of all time. I'm going to count down the top couple here. The number 1 was famously when Mike Bekonowitz beat Taylor to keep him from being silver. That was a 130-point victory. Number 2 was Chris Colby taking down Mike Bekonowitz last year by 118 points. We had Chris Patnode beating Mike Sr. back in 2017 by 112. And Chris Colby rounding out the top 4 by 111, beating Chris Cloud in a very lopsided Chris Bowl. Now, why did I read those first 4? Because, Colin, I told you slotted in at number 6. Number 5, 6, and 7 are Colin, and Colin. Your first 2 here were both in 2015, when in Week 7 you beat Chris Cloud by 109 points, and in Week 10 you beat Chris Colby by 107. So you're slotting right in between those, rounding it out as the 5, 6, and 7th most dominant victories of all time.
Yeah, that's fun having a big margin of victory, but I like it when the other person scores not a lot, and because then I'd rather double the score than win. I just like that I doubled his score. That makes me feel good. I'd rather him score. I'd rather put up 140 against 70 than 180 against 100. It doesn't make any sense, but it just makes me feel good. Moving on to the next one, we have Chris Cloud against Fitzy. So just as you let me take the handle on that one, why don't you take the wheel, Fitzy?
So, Colin, I got to tell you, last week I was completely wrong about my team. I had projected myself to be the 11th best team, but I scored the 10th most points. So my arrow's pointing up, up, up. I predict that by next week I'll be 9th ranked, and the week after I'll be 8th. I'm renaming my team to Stonks because there's only one way we go. Up, up, up.
Yeah, that was a tough one. Chris Cloud having the second best week after me, despite starting Nico Collins. So good for him. 28 points from Pittsburgh. That's what really floated him, huh? That's always
not even. You take that away, and I still lose by a significant margin. You talk about, it's tough to have Nico Collins. I wish I had Nico Collins. I would not drop him because I had Alec Pierce starting. Who is that guy? I was going to name my team after him. He got no points. Yeah. So I had, he's gone.
Well, I get the logic. Somebody's got to step up with the wide receiver 2 in Indianapolis. Turns out nobody did because he's just going to throw it to Michael Pittman. But, yeah, it's tough for you. For most of the people I've said, I don't see anything wrong with their teams. But for you, I mean, it's just tough with the depth, like who would, because then I look at your bench, it's not like you made any wrong decisions, really.
No, my wrong decisions were made on draft day. That's when I made my wrong decisions.
But it's week 1. Like, you have Dalvin and Javonte Williams. Javonte could tomorrow take the lead role and score like 30 points. Kyle Pitts has a terrible week, whatever. Like, I can't make any grand statements, Same thing was his side. Like, Clyde puts up 22 and a half. Yeah, I'm not really buying him, really. DJ is a bad, So, rounding out the matchups from last week, we got the newlyweds, Corby and Brandy. Now, in a close game, coming down to the wire, Corby takes the win by about 6 points. Here's what happened. Brandy started George Kittle, who was ruled out. If you had just put in Pat Freiermuth, you could have won. So it's a bummer. I'm sure Corby was sitting there laughing maniacally while he watched you start George Kittle. But, Fitzy, what do you think?
Colin, you took my notes exactly. I hate to say it. I don't know that this is quite a new gate controversy, but I believe Brandy should get credit for this win. Whether we call it Bridegate, Friargate, or Muthgate, whatever you want to call it, Brandy was robbed of a victory after some savvy trading. A bit of bad luck injury gets the team down in the narrowest loss of the week. Now, Corby, don't take this the wrong way. I love your team because you have all the $12 players I wish I had drafted instead of stupid Kyle Pitts. I love your team name, the Super Meat Man, and I'm happy for you, but this should have been Brandy's.
What is it? Can you explain that to me now? Like, what is Super Meat Man? I don't...
So Super Meat Man, let's get right into new team names of the week. Only one at the time of recording, and it's Corby. We were sitting there on the couch, and this is what I love, a reference to a time you were hanging out. We were sitting there on the couch, and Corby looks at A.J. Dillon and says, "Oh, look at that meaty man. Look at that meaty man." And I said, "Oh, Super Meat Man, huh? Like Super Meat Boy?"
And Corby liked it.
And he just liked it. He liked it, and he made it his team name. He made his picture A.J. Dillon with sort of a smirk on his face, made of meat. And then you got Daniel Jones hanging there with him. So, love the team name, love the picture.
Yeah. I never realized how impressive Daniel Jones' neck was until I look at this picture. He's right up there.
Absolutely.
He's right up there with Mike Lennon and Davis Mills. Way up there.
That's great. All the best quarterbacks have big necks. Yeah. Big, tall necks.
Right. Also another donut from, who's this, Jalen Tolbert? Is that how you say it? The rookie from the Cowboys. So
yeah.
It's tough to have 2 zeros, and you still had a good week. And you have a good team, despite Kamara, breaking his ribs or whatever happened there. So that's it for matchups for this past week.
Yep. And in our first week, Colin and I both go 4-2. The coin flips their way to 2-4, but they'll find their way. They'll find their way back to even. Now, before we get into Transaction Watch and the upcoming matchups this week, I want to take a quick step back from football. And Colin, this is normally where we'd have Corby's Corner, but this year we're going to have Fitzy's Fireside Chats. And my first topic today is one that I meant to bring up on our post-draft day episode. It was supposed to be my number 1 worst draft pick, and I just somehow missed it. It was you at Buffalo Wild Wings. Now let me explain it for the listeners. At Buffalo Wild Wings, when you order 30 wings, you are allowed to choose 4 different flavors. Colin, prior to ordering, you looked at me and you asked, "What is orange chicken?" And Adam and I explained to you, I don't know, it's like General. You mentioned General Tso's. We were like, yeah, it's like that, but like a little less spicy, more sweet. And you said, "Oh, okay." And you proceeded to order 30 of them and not like them. So explain, just like walk the listeners through your logic for choosing 30 orange chicken wings, please.
All right, first of all, I didn't come in this podcast knowing I was going to be attacked for this. But listen, okay, so I don't know which one is orange chicken, what is General Tso's, but I love the orange chicken that is sweet. And I was like, which one is that? Is that orange chicken? That's not what I said, but in my mind, that's what's going on.
That is orange chicken, and that's how you get it from the Chinese restaurant, not from Buffalo Wild Wings.
Well, which one is from the... So that's orange chicken from the Chinese restaurant?
Yeah.
All right. So I was like... You were like, oh, it's sweet. And I was like, great. That's exactly what I want. I want it like the Chinese restaurant. And then I got it, and it was just spicy. It was very spicy. I didn't like it that much. I mean, it wasn't that I didn't like it. I still ate it all. I brought some home the next morning, and I ate it, but... I don't know what to tell you.
Why didn't you just bring me through that mental, I won't say gymnastics, but that mental exercise where you were thinking, I have a fairly good guess as to what this might taste like, and I want all 30 of my wings to be the same. Talk to me about not making any other choices.
Okay, think of it like an auction draft. Okay, I went with I went all in on
stars and scrubs. Oh, your star got injured.
Because listen, exactly. If it was the orange chicken I liked, it was like 30 orange chicken. This is the greatest day of my life. So I took the risk because I don't really like any. I've never had a flavor at Buffalo Wild Wings and been like, this is tasty. Like none of them have been like. None of them have really made me be happy.
Yeah, because you tried them one at a time. Because last year you got 30 teriyaki and you didn't like them either.
Well, you have, it's the same thing. If I liked it, I would have 30 of them.
You gotta explore before you exploit, Colin.
I'm exploring one at a time. No, I have tried some of them before, and, sometimes other people get stuff, and I'll try those, but I don't know. Like I said before, I'm not a big foodie, so, I just get what I like, and then that's what it's just like how I eat, 3 different things in my life. I want to find one chicken, and then I'm going to eat it all. I don't know. Next year I'll probably try, I don't know, what's the Asian Zing? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
So next year I'll try 30 Asian Zings, and we'll see how it goes.
It'll be your third year in a row having a vaguely Asian chicken sauce at Buffalo Wild Wings and not liking all 30 of them.
Well, they say third time's the charm, so Asian Zing. Here I come. I think they have that at Red Robin, don't they? Or they have some kind of Asian Thai sauce that I like a lot.
I also, not to belabor this point, but other people were offering you trades so that you could experience another flavor, and you were offended. You said, what do I look like, a charity case? Come on, let me enjoy my 30 terrible chicken wings. I'm sorry. I didn't want to poke any sore spots.
We kind of talked about it already. The whole time I was there, I felt like I was under scrutiny by everybody. Everyone, whenever we go to a restaurant, let's all laugh at Colin ordering food and talking to the waitress, Let's all watch at Colin's crippling social anxiety. Let's all laugh at it. And just adding fuel to the fires, everyone's laughing at me and my wings. So I just feel really persecuted. And, it's just a shame that in today's society we haven't evolved past that, so... Is that what you wanted to talk about today?
I just wanted to bring this to our listeners' attention. I'm sorry that it got you worked up. I see that you have a topic here for the fireside.
Yeah, I'm glad it got me worked up because I've got something I want to talk about. I'm cutting you off because I'm taking the wheel here. A lot has been made of this whole Yahoo ranking thing. I don't have a life, so the other day I rewatched Silverwatch, and I knew about that Mike and Taylor matchup being the biggest disparity because I just saw it the other day. I remember that was part of the thing. He needed one win to get to silver. Mike gave him the biggest beatdown of the league history, so I've been in bronze for a while. I think I touched in the silver last year for a bit.
You did?
So then this year I'm like, I'm going all in. I'm going to get to gold at least. So I joined 6 different leagues. And I'm like, I'm just going to do really good in all of them. Most of them, I'm in 3 ones with friends, but then I'm in 3 public leagues. Paid public leagues. They're money. And I won, and I went 5-1 this week. 5-1. I lost in, I think, the only free league I'm in that I don't really care about. The rest I all won. Money leagues. I got went up 10 points. And then I'm looking at Chris Colby and Chris Cloud, who won, I don't know how many leagues they're in. They went up 43 and 37. It's rigged. I want to, I see how Donald Trump felt. Wait, can we dip in? Is that kosher?
we don't talk about politics on this podcast.
I just feel a grave injustice has occurred, and I feel like this is why I've never gotten... I think I'm a 3-time platinum finisher. And I think there's some sort of conspiracy going on. I don't know if Cash can control it as commissioner or something. Someone at Yahoo has it out for me. Because I'm busting my ass out here, and I'm getting shit for it.
So I can confirm you are a 3-time platinum finisher. Congratulations. one thing about all these public leagues, one of the things that factors in heavily, as I did my research, is the rating of your competition. So beating a higher ranked manager boosts your score more than beating a lower rated one. And from personal experience, when I go 2-2 and I'm facing a few bronze people, I go down. When I go 2-2 and I'm facing some golds, I'll go up. And I'm sorry to say it, Colin, those public leagues, you should check what is the rating of that league.
They're paid. One dude was diamond, I'm pretty sure. At least platinum.
We are a proud gold league here in Why Do Boys Play Games. I do appreciate you trying to go out and farm a little bit of extra karma for us there. I'm trying to get us to a platinum league this year. But, yeah, in the meantime, gold league, we're happy to see our friends doing well. And I'm sorry that you are succeeding slower than you want to.
They're both gold. They're both gold leagues. I have no answer. There's no other possibility than that it's rigged. Yeah, this guy was platinum. I beat him last week. This is ridiculous. I'm going to call Yahoo. Is Marissa Myers still in charge? Is that who it was? Let's move on to the next segment, okay? Transaction watch. All right, let me calm down a little.
Say, the rest of this is not going to be very fun if we're this at each other's throats.
I don't want you to think about your throat. I am amped up at Yahoo right now.
Good.
I'm moving on from the fireside chats.
So Colin, yeah, why don't we dip into transaction watch here? We had no trades, and the first transaction we're going to cover is Taysom Hill, quarterback/tight end, $13 to Adam, where the next highest bid was cash.
Yeah, I know Adam is fond of the Taysom Hill. He was kicking on himself in 2 tight end league for not taking him. I don't think I see what he sees in him. I guess in the event that Winston goes down, do they still have Simeon? I don't know. Maybe Taysom Hill will step up, and that'd be fun. But as a standalone starter, I mean, I'd rather have a guy who I know. He killed it last week. What did he have? Like 4 rushes. I'd rather have a guy getting 4 catches, like Evan Ingram. So, good for you, Adam, if you need a tight end, if you're really desperate. He's better than Austin Hooper. Any takes, Fitzy?
Better than Austin Hooper, certainly.
Corey Davis went for $4 to Brandy. Only other bid was Fitzy, who you kind of did this on, I think, most of the guys, which I guess is worth it. Just put in a $0 claim and maybe nobody, there's nothing to lose. So I like that, but yeah, that's fine. He got a lot of targets, but that's mostly because Flacco threw the ball 60 times, so yeah. But maybe his target share was still decent. I haven't really looked at it, but...
Yeah, 9 of 59 is still a pretty decent share. And honestly, Corey Davis is one of those guys. Yeah, I put a $0 bid in on him. Mostly because, again, he would actually start on my team. And it's terrible, terrible, terrible to say that. But, Brandy, I actually like the move. $4, not bad. The next one... Colin, I'll get your reaction here, is where I put $18 in on Jeff Wilson and got him, and the next highest bid was $14 by Adam. I want to walk you through before your reaction. My initial bid was very high. It was $28, and I looked at it, and I was like, Jeff Wilson kind of stinks. Yeah, he's going to start on my team, but this guy kind of stinks. I'm going to lower it, and I lowered it to $22. And then I looked at it some more, and I was like, and Trey Lance is going to take all the touchdowns away. This guy's going to have 7 for 41 as a really good week for him. He'll have 4 points. So I took it down to 18, and I really thought about going lower. I'm glad to see Adam at 14. It gives me a little bit of a confidence boost that I'm not too high over, but not a really great fill-in running back, if I'm being honest.
No, I agree completely. But I was a big Jeff Wilson stan last year because, Mostert went down and it was who's up? Mitchell stepped up and good for him, but I was big on Wilson. I stashed him all year, and then he came back and he was washed. And then he didn't look good last week when he came in either, but, that was the infamous flooded field game, so who knows. But I'm not... You mentioned Trey Lance, but even more than Trey Lance is, I think Debo will probably get...
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, so I wouldn't touch him. But I get how, in your position, you kind of need him. So I'm not going to judge you for it. I think $18 in a vacuum is a great for Jeff Wilson as starting running back. On a Kyle Shanahan team, it's a great deal if it's his job. But it's Kyle Shanahan, so who knows whose job it is. Mm-hmm. So the next one, which is going to be answering Mike's question of the highest bid and who does it, Chris Patnode for $33 gets his guy, Curtis Samuels. Shout out to Chris Badode for sabotaging my bet that he's going to spend the fewest fab. Cash went in with $22, so maybe a bit overpay, but in week one, I'd rather overpay because, this is when we see the teams, we see who they like. I think this is the best time to spend your fab, and I'm saying that as someone who didn't spend any. But Curtis Samuel, he could be a real weapon. They paid him a lot of money a couple years ago. He was hurt last year. I like Curtis Samuel. Ron Rivera loves Curtis Samuel. Could be like a Debo Light there. They run a lot of jet sweeps with him. So good pickup for a team that really needs him after the Cooper Kupp trade. What's your take?
Again, Curtis Samuel is one of those guys where I don't know if this was a 1 week thing or not. For the amount of targets he got and the amount of time Carson Wentz is going to be throwing, I would be very happy to have Curtis Samuel on my team. Admittedly, I probably should have bid more than $0 on him, and maybe you should have bid more than $4. We were on the lowest end of putting bids in for him. 33, not my favorite price to pay, but hey, like you said, put your bets in while you still can. Because people are going to be putting in $100 for a quarterback in week 12. So it's good value now.
Yeah, I just put in 4 because, what wide receivers, I don't need more receivers. So, I would like Curtis Samuel, but am I going to start him? I can't. So, what's the last one here rounding us out, Fitzy?
Actually, I had 2 more on the list. I'll start with Robbie Anderson going to Adam for $6 with actually me putting in a $0 bid on Robbie. So, congrats to Adam for outbidding me on Robbie Anderson. One of those guys who is the new Deshaun Jackson, right? Where if he hits the 75-yard touchdown, you're happy, and if he doesn't, he will probably more than 50% of the time, you're less happy, but worth a flyer.
I just want to say last year I was big on Robbie Anderson. He had an awesome year 2 years ago with Teddy. He went 80 for 1,200 or something in 6. Great wide receiver too. And then Darnold came in, and I was like, oh, Darnold, they're gonna.
Reignite. Connection.
Yeah, and he had and week 1, I remember he had 1 catch for 70 yards and a touchdown, and I was like, well, that's great for it's great, but it's concerning because he had 2 targets. So I'm like, oh. So I'm done with Robbie after last year because for the rest of the year he was terrible. He was okay kind of when I think towards the end of the year, but good for Adam. This is a new year. Baker was looking his way more than DJ, it seems. So. $6 is a great price, I think. I think that's a very good price for Adam.
The last one I want to cover is actually my favorite pickup of the week, and that's just for Brandy putting $1 on the Los Angeles Rams defense, as both Eric and Chris Colby also put a bid in for him, but just for $0. So if there's a defense who you want, I think Brandy spending just $1, that's actually pretty darn good value. The other 2 people would have gotten it. Now you get the one that you want. So I'm not against putting $1 in for a defense. I like that one a lot.
Well, the issue is when a quarterback gets on the block for $100 at week 12, Brandy's only gonna have $99. So no.
Yeah, big problem.
Brandy,
right?
I don't know who they play. I don't even know.
And that will round us off for the transaction watch. Now, Colin, let's take a look at week 2. See what we got on deck. And I think we might have a different schedule this year because we've got our second Chris Bowl of the year right off the bat. Chris Colby taking on Chris Cloud. And it is a heck of a matchup here. I think it's an early contender for Chris Bowl of the year. I learned firsthand that Chris Cloud's team is not here to mess around. But Chris Colby's got that low floor, high ceiling type of team that I love. Give me Chris Colby in an absolute nail biter.
Yeah, these are two are some of my higher ranked managers in the power rankings. I like them both a lot. But Chris Colby, I think was my number 1, or maybe Tyler was, but those were my top 2 I remember. And the projections love Chris Colby's team. That means I love Chris Colby's team. He's sticking with Devin Duvernay. I love it. He's got Lenny. He's got Devontae. Matt Stafford in his, not revenge game, but his revenge against the haters. Because they're writing him off, and he's not writing back. Go Staffy. Yeah, so I'm taking Chris Colby. And let me introduce, please, ladies and gentlemen, and whoever else is listening, the coin.
Colin, the coin is taking Chris Cloud.
It's always such a contrast. Next one up, we got Chris Padnode versus Eric in a battle of the 0-1 teams. Both of these squads are looking for a pick-me-up after some tragic losses. I think I'm actually going to take Eric. Why? Well, if T. Higgins plays, and Najee is playing apparently, I think he's got good depth. Ty Montgomery just went on IR, so Ramondre is going to get some receiving work. I guess he's sticking with Dawson Knox. That's cool. But mostly it's because he has Amon-Ra St. Brown. I ranked Eric last in the power rankings. I think I ranked Chris P. maybe decently. I don't remember. But give me Eric.
All right. So first, the coin is rolling with Chris on this one. And my notes, we have the battle here of last year's team names. And I'm going to keep it short. I said it at the start that I like Chris's team and that he would have a bounce back. And I think it starts right here. Give me Female Shepherd in a blowout.
You think Eric's just going to keep spiraling down, huh?
Well, honestly, this was one of the last ones I made notes for. And I say it's going to be close a few times. So I was like, oh, well, which one's going to be a blowout? Chris P's going to get it done. On to our next matchup where we have Adam taking on Tyler. And down goes Tyler. Those injuries you mentioned really hurt. And it turns out that Austin Hooper would have been a better pick for Tyler after 1 week of Cole Kmet off my team. Adam has stud quarterbacks and enough on the rest of his roster to get this one done in a close matchup for no other reason than the fact that Adam has his team's totem, the Adam version of Theo, Kenyon Drake, on his bench.
Yeah, Adam's a big Kenyon Drake guy. Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything you said. Tyler's he's still got the tight end in the flex with Zach Ertz. I still kind of believe in Cole Kmet. I'm not taking anything from that awful rain game into account. I'm fine with keeping Cole Kmet and starting him. I'm not fine with keeping Cam Akers and starting him. I guess you can't drop him, but I mean, he's your flex. I'm not into that. Dak goes down, so Tyler start going with Geno. He played decent on Monday, so we'll see. But I'm also going to go with Adam. Just all around a great roster. He had a very good week 1. Definitely in the top half of the league. Yeah, he's in 4th place, so give me Adam. I hate to pick him, but I'm picking him. What's the coin taking?
The coin here is taking Adam.
Next up, we got Fitzy, the co-host, against Mike, the Floridian. Fitzy, you're in this one, so why don't you take the lead?
So I told you that it would be Mike's year, but I think it just might be my week. I went from 11th entering the season to 10th this week, and Mike is sitting there, ranked 9th after 1 week. This is the battle for 9th place, and I intend to win it. The coin is against me, by the way. The coin wants Mike.
Oh, well, okay. On one hand, I really respect you going for yourself. On the other hand, you said it was Mike's year, and then last week you picked Adam, and now you're picking yourself. It's just, where's the consistency? I'm going with Mike. Russell Gage is going to be an interesting flex with Godwin out. So your depth, I guess, is looking a little better. Hines was nice. We'll see Wilson. But I think Mike's team's just got the heavy hitters. You know, he's got McCaffrey and Diggs. And yeah, I'm going to have to go with Mike's team. But it could be a close one.
I like that the upside there is that it could be a close one. Thank you for that, Colin.
Well, that's what they said about Denver and Seattle. And look at it. Seahawks won. So you can do anything if you believe in yourself enough.
On to the next team here. We've got Taylor versus Brandy, where projections at the time of recording are razor close, where Brandy's projected to win by 3. I got to throw that margin out the window. For this one, to me, it's going to come down to intangibles. Brandy has saved up plenty of fantasy karma over the last couple of years, and Taylor has been spending it. I believe Brandy gets a bit of justice this week and takes home the dub.
What's the coin taking?
The coin is taking Taylor.
I think I'm going to have to go with the coin on this one. I know Brandy has come time and time again under the cruel fate of the fantasy hammer, but again, with Keenan Allen out, I just feel like Mike Williams is going to go for 40. I feel like Aaron Jones, he got 10 touches last week. They're going to be feeding him the rock as an apology. Kyler Murray's got to prove that he's not a bum. I just feel like his team has more to prove. Then on Brandy's side, I don't know what's going on with Kamara. Brandy actually has a really good team, and I like it a lot, though. So, even if you start 0-2, I don't panic till I think 0-4. 1-3 is solid. Give me Taylor, though.
Oh, I'm not surprised that you like Brandy's team. It is currently projected for the second most points in the league, so that's a Colin stat for you.
Really?
Yep. Currently, this week anyway. Yes. But let me transition now to a team that I know you like. It's our final matchup of the week. Battle of the sometimes co-host, Corby and Colin. To me, there's no doubt that this is the matchup of the week, and Colin, I want you to break it down for me.
Well, before we break it down, I hit up Corby. I was talking some smack. And I asked him to record a little soundbite for me. So here's what Corby has to say.
What's up, gamers? You know, it's your boy, Corby St. Romain Corbett. And I'm back with a breakdown of Waka Flocka Flame versus me, Super Meat Man. Colin, the reality is I think you have a much higher ceiling. You've got Jamar, you've got Gabe, you've got Patty, you've got Sanders, These guys have really high ceilings. They're all very talented, but can sometimes get hurt. You've also got Tyreek and Debo, with now Elijah being gone for up to 2 months and Debo getting 8 carries and 8 targets last week. Debo's got a crazy high ceiling. Tyreek's always got a crazy high ceiling. Michael Pittman's looking legit. So it's really hard for me to justify picking myself because the reality is I only feel confident in beating you with my quarterbacks, my running backs, and my tight end. I feel like your flexes and your wide receivers are just a little too OP right now. Although, now that I'm looking at it, Evan Ingram, you might be onto something. Nah, I'm gonna take you, Colin. I think you're gonna beat me.
So that was Corby's take. Another disappointment. I hate when people bet against themselves. Spoiler alert, I'm probably going to take myself every week this year. Well, until I start doing bad, and then I'm going to get depressed and take other people. Corby's 1-0. There's no reason for him to not take himself. That being said, I'm going to take myself. Corby's got a great team, I think. In a 12-teamer, I really want a really good tight end. Corby's got the best tight end in the game in Travis Kelce. I've got the second best in Evan Ingram. But I just think the degree of separation is pretty high, so I don't think there's really a weak point in Corby's roster. He's at least, slightly above average in every spot. Brandon Ayuk as a second flex is questionable. But I'm going to have to go with myself. I love my team. It turns out, after week 1, I could have put up 100. I put up 200. I like my team. Fitzy, what do you think?
Now, Colin, I have to ask you just one question, because to me, even if you two weren't co-hosts, this would still be a battle of league titans. So I only have one question, Colin. Do you have the guts to start Joe Flacco this week?
No.
In that case, I'm picking Corby. Corby gets it done, and you're going to regret not starting Flacco.
Flacco against Cleveland? Dude, did you see what they did to Baker?
I saw what Baker did.
In all
Normal Baker stuff.
I'll take Goff against the Commanders. It's going to be another, the Lions' defense is pretty terrible. Wentz is putting up points. Goff is going to be slinging it. He's got lots of guys to throw to. I think it makes more sense to take big Goff over, 60 attempt Flacco. 60 attempts and how many points? Like 14? 16. So, no thanks.
Well, we'll put a feather in that one, Colin, because we're entering our next segment.
Wait, what did the coin say?
Oh, sorry, the coin picks Colin.
Yes!
And with that, we are now entering our final segment. It's Bets of the Week, and we start with a recap. We missed one bet last week on the pod, and that was the most expensive player in the draft, 68.5. I took the over with the side of history, because we had never had one of our highest drafted players going for less than that. Corby and Colin both had the under. At 63, Jonathan Taylor comes off the board, and both Colin and Corby get the win.
Yeah, I just feel like we talked about in the pre-draft podcast, I think just like as quarterbacks rise in price and we all kind of get more savvy, I think we're all realizing how important it is to save kind of money for depth, which is not something you do in a normal league, the normal lineup, but we just start so many players in this league that you want to have solid position players in every single slot. So I think we're spending less on the top guys. Is that what you think is happening, or
I have no idea what's happening, and that's why my team looks like it does.
Okay. The other bet, or not a missed bet, but the bet we had last week, we made a bet, overtime week 1. Oh, this was in the pre-draft, actually. Corby made a spur-of-the-moment bet. He said there would be an overtime in week 1. Me and Fitzy said, no way. Turns out there were 2 overtime games. They were both a 20-20 tie. One of them ended in a tie. So, Fitzy, how are you feeling about that one?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you said it, we bet against overtime, and we nearly had 2 teams tie with the same exact score. I mean, that's pure symmetry. I love to see it. Yeah. Final bet to recap, more points. Jared Goff or Tannehill/Fields. Colin took Goff. I took the latter. And I won that one because Goff did outscore Fields in the Rain Bowl, but not Tanny.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me. I mean, I thought it was a smash. I thought Goff would pick up where he left off last year. I think he looked terrible on Sunday. At least from what we saw in Red Zone. It looked like he was missing a lot of throws. They fell behind pretty early. So he'll sling it and he'll get points that way. But I was really hoping for, a better game. Although, I think Eagles have a really underrated defense. Or at least I did think that until the Lions put up like 35 against them. So I don't know what to think.
Yeah, that's going to transition me into the bets of this week, where I've got one that I'm really glad I heard your take on already. My bet's quite simple. My bet is that Joe Flacco will outscore one of your 2 starting quarterbacks this week.
Wow. You're going to give me both of them, huh? Not just Goff?
I'm saying he will outscore exactly one.
Oh,
he
I
won't
see
be
what
the
you're saying.
highest scoring.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I see. Okay, not that he's outscoring both. Okay, I see. All right, so you're making it a little better for you. Yeah, I'm going to take it. I'm not starting him. If I thought that, I would start him. So, yeah, give me the, not the field, but give me one of either of them. Give me Flacco last. All right, Fitzy, I got a special bet for you.
Oh, no.
Now, everyone laughed at Evan Ingram. They all pointed. They all said, look at this guy. Well, you know who Evan Ingram outscored? My $1 Evan Ingram outscored is, $26 Kyle Pitts or whatever. I don't know what happened out there. I don't blame Kyle Pitts. Maybe it was Mariota. They were running the ball. I think they had over 200 rushing yards, too. It was all going to Drake London. He had a great game. Orlando Zacchaeus or whatever his name was, he was getting fed. That dude he always seems to be there getting 4 catches. He's the Andre Roberts of or Seth Roberts of the Falcons. Little Raiders throwback. I think that Evan Ingram is going to outscore Kyle Pitts this week. Chalk it up. What do you think?
Chalk it right up. I'll take Kyle Pitts.
Keep betting against Evan Ingram. I dare you. Because how many catches does Najee have in the year? Like 1?
Good update for that bet. Yeah, you're doing pretty well there. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, we got a lot of season-long bets. Probably too many to recap, but we can do that another time. Unless you want to recap.
I do have one I want to recap.
Right,
My Osborne is beating your Hamler in the KJ bet. My favorite bum bet this year. Osborne's got 4.5 or 4.4 fantasy points, and Hamler has none. So a hot start for Osborne.
Yeah, I meant to check on that. I know that Hamler, I think he had 1 target and nothing. I didn't check on Osborne, but no, he must have got like 2 catches. Good for him. Okay,
I've got one more bet, and it's a pretty quick one. It has to do a little bit with my team, and it's a bet on the Exxon Valdez, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I believe quite simply that he is the guy over your favorite name, Me Cole, Hard Man. I'm taking Thursday night, MVS over, Hard Man fantasy points.
So that's an interesting one. I do like MVS a lot. I think, other than Juju, I feel like they paid him decent money, MVS. But then watching the Kansas City game, it looked like they were kind of designing plays for McCole. I think he was getting some. I think he maybe even had a couple rushing attempts. I do think MVS is going to explode every now and again, just like he did in Green Bay. He'll get his 70-yard touchdowns, and he'll be worth it. But simply because I'm a betting man, and I think I'm behind, and I need to. This is my logic. I'm behind, so I really need to catch up, so I don't have to pay out. God. I'm gonna take Hard Man. Give me the Hard Man.
I'm glad you're not soft, Colin.
Yeah, I'm not a soft boy. I'm a hard man.
Am I right to say that was your last bet of the week?
Yeah, I'm all betted out. This bank's busted.
All right, that will do it on another episode of the Why Do Boys Make podcast. On your way out, don't you forget to smash that like button. I again need to see. We were told 10 on week 1. They're being more lenient if we get 5 likes. Just 5 likes. AdSense will get turned on for us, and we'll finally be able to make some money off of this thing. Colin's trying to buy Adelaide some new shoes. We got to get this in. So hit that bell, subscribe, do all the good stuff. And as always, I'm Fitzy.
And I'm Colin.
And gamers, game on.